vocal about Austin Aries taking a backseat to the Aces and Eights storyline in recent weeks. Now let's face it, this close to your biggest show of the year, the world champion taking a backseat for any reason is just not a good thing. So I was very happy that the show this week started the way it did and ended the way it did. Aries' right arm is banged up, but he's a southpaw, so he can still punch stuff. And he might not be cleared to wrestle, but he can still fight. And that's why he's there. He's looking for a fight. He wants to fight one of the Aces and Eights. Hogan and Sting come out. Hogan puts over Aries, as he should. The Aces and Eights appear on the video screen, and they hint that they just might grant Aries' wish tonight. Strong segment all around, and this is something that really needed to happen. They needed to incorporate Austin Aries into this storyline more than they have been. He's been on the outskirts until now, but the world champion should always be a central player. Even if he's not directly involved in the main storyline, whatever it is, he should always be a figurehead on general principles. And Aries had been playing second fiddle to this situation pretty much since it started, so this was very necessary to bring him to the forefront, so to speak. Yes! We had some big BFG series matches on the show this week. James Storm versus Bob Van Dam, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe, and Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy. All huge matchups. Dare I say it, the kind of matchups that fans might pay money to see. Maybe on a Sunday. Normally I would probably give TNA more crap for giving so many of these away on free TV and not saving them for pay-per-view, but with a tournament like this, that's not really possible all the time. Plus, they're coming off their biggest rating in months last week. They want to keep that momentum going. I understand that. So I'm going to give them a pass on this one. And it's not like they pissed these matches away like they were nothing. They got video packages, each match got the time it needed to be satisfying, and each match was really good. I really liked the finish to Storm Van Dam. Storm super kicking Van Dam when he was in mid-somersault. Awesome. James Storm winning the match, securing a spot in the Final Four. Also awesome. And I like that short interview afterward to put over the importance of his win. That was a nice touch. AJ Styles Samoa Joe was not what I was expecting. First of all, yes, it's not the match they were having 5 years ago. They're older now, they're more beat up. Get over it. It was still a good match. Just a different type of match. The psychology was nice here because they both started out really trepidatious because they both have a lot riding on this match. Joe's trying to get back to the #1 spot on the leaderboard so he can pick his opponent in the Final Four at No Surrender, and AJ's got to win just to make the Final Four, and they're both going for the submission victory. Plus, Joe was still selling the attack by Magnus 2 weeks ago, so there was a lot going on in this match. AJ keeps going for the armbar on Joe's bad arm. Joe looks strong for not tapping. Joe eventually does get the win, though not the submission, and AJ is crushed. And this is something they did a really good job with in this match, as well as Angle versus Hardy, selling the loser's reaction. For both AJ and Kurt Angle, losing their respective match means they were out of the tournament. So naturally, they'd be really upset, and the production team captured that very well, I thought. And that's great. Focusing on the loser's reaction as well as the winner's reaction really drives home the importance of this thing. I was disappointed that Magnus didn't show up, though. I kept looking for him. My guess is he'll take Samoa Joe out of the tournament at No Surrender, and if they're choosing to keep him off TV until then, that's an interesting choice. You're choosing surprise instead of the traditional way you'd build up something like this. Might not be a bad way to go, actually. Then we had our knockout segment of the night, and while I'm on the subject, yes, for God's sake, yes, people, I know that Kaylee Ray is not the first wrestler to ever use the Gory Bomb. I'm well aware of that. When I said that only she could use that move, I was attempting to be humorous. Good grief. So Madison Rayne comes out for a match. Taryn Terrell did not get her own entrance this week. Apparently TNA officials realized that a referee getting their own entrance is, well, kind of silly and unnecessary and a big waste of time. So Madison is expecting to get her title rematch against Brooke Tessmacher. And to play devil's advocate, she did kind of have a point. The former champion is entitled to a rematch, and personally, I would have much preferred that match to the one we got. Instead of Brooke Tessmacher, Madison faces the returning ODB. Ha-ha! The match is over so quickly you could barely call it a match, and considering it involved two of my most hated characters on this show, that was probably for the best. Madison Rayne gets the jobber treatment, but ODB wins in dominant fashion, so I'm not sure how to feel about this one. Then Eric Young returned. Eric is acting very differently because the success of his Animal Planet show has gone to his head. And I'll give him this. Eric Young going Hollywood and using that gimmick to maybe turn heel would not only make sense for this character, but it might actually have been kind of amusing. You know, he was already acting strangely heelish by weaseling his way out of defending the Knockout Tag titles for months, so why the hell not? To be honest, I was kind of intrigued by this. But, of course, they had to go and ruin it because God forbid I ever get to genuinely enjoy something Eric Young does. ODB says he's not the man she married, and rather than explore a potentially interesting new facet to his character that TNA could use to promote his Animal Planet show at the same time, he decides to just drop trow again. Because that gimmick hasn't gotten old at all, has it? Holy gods. TNA, can we please just have one freaking Eric Young segment where he doesn't take his pants off? Is that really asking for too much?
I cannot and will not demean myself by engaging this ignoramus this evening.
So they make up. ODB immediately forgives Eric for disappearing and abandoning her for months on end, meaning all those segments of her getting pissed at him for this amounted to exactly nothing, and I start looking for a toilet to go be sick in.
Oh my God, he's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
No follow-up with Tessmacher and Tara this week. I really wish we'd gotten that instead of this. Something I've been wondering about since last week is Kazarian's role in the whole Claire Lynch angle. Now, supposedly, he originally turned heel on his friend AJ Styles because he thought AJ was sleeping with Dixie Carter to get ahead in this company, and then it was because he thought AJ had knocked up Claire Lynch. But if none of that was ever true, and he knew it was never true, then why did Kaz turn heel on AJ in the first place? What was his motivation for doing that? I don't know. But anyway, Hogan and Sting confront the World Tag Team Champions of the world. I love that that's a thing now, and let them know how pissed they are at him. And Kaz gets huge respect points for calling Sting Heath. They finally went there, and I loved it. But, of course, Sting ruined it. Not only by completely no-selling this remark, but even worse, by making Christopher Daniels spill his Appletini. Damn you, Sting! You never mess with a man's drink. That is a line you dare not cross. I demand restitution for Daniels' spilled Appletini. I demand justice!
And together we can be justice!
I'd like to thank Bruce Pritchard, Al Snow, and Taz for justifying my faith in this gut check process. They hashed out Chris Louis' tryout match last week, and they pulled no punches here. They didn't sugarcoat it for the audience. He was out of shape, he made a lot of mistakes, he choked under the pressure, and they said as much. They kept it real, and I respect them for that. And this played out just like it needed to. I did get kind of nervous when they showed his family at ringside, though, because I thought they were going to take a cheap route with this for a minute. And either they were going to say yes, and it was going to be complete bullshit, or they were going to say no, and it was going to get really uncomfortable. But you know what? Sometimes realism is uncomfortable. And this was the only way it could play out. The judges had to vote no. He just wasn't that good. His backstory was the only thing he had going for him, and he proved that again here. I mean, JB gave him a chance to talk. He could have tried to cut the promo of his life, but he just said, yes, and I get better every day. And then he just stopped talking. And JB is just standing there holding the mic in front of his face for a minute, expecting him to say something to try to sway the judges and sell himself, but no, he's got nothing. I feel really bad for the guy, but he just wasn't cut out for this. Then Joey Ryan shows up with a megaphone and things get entertaining.
Yes!
Joey Ryan should cut every promo with a megaphone. That was some funny shit right there. Then that corporate stooge, Al Snow, chases him out of the arena. I don't know how much longer they can draw this angle out, but I'm enjoying it. Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy was the main event. Hardy goes over, as I was kind of expecting him to. As I said, they sold Kurt Angle's disappointment that he lost very well. Really strong match, it got good time. I had no complaints. But what I liked most was what they did afterward. They had the final 5 guys in the Bound for Glory series come out. JB announces them, puts them over, they set off pyro, and it's this really cool moment to sell the importance of the BFG series and the fact that we're really down to the wire here now. And it's one of those things where it's not strictly necessary, but it's a nice thing to throw in there regardless because it makes a great compliment to something like this. It raises the profile of the tournament and of the people in it. Just giving it a little extra attention like that. And I thought that was a really great touch. Final segment of the evening. Austin Aries comes out to fight one of the Aces and Eights. Hogan and Sting lead a whole bunch of guys out there too, but not to take the spotlight. They're all just there to back up the champ. Awesome. So the Aces and Eights show up, and one of them gets in the ring to fight Aries. It degenerates into a big brawl pretty quickly. Then some guy jumps up on the ring apron, puts a mask on, knocks out Aries with a flapjack, and then gets run off by Bully Ray for the 2nd week in a row. Curiouser and curiouser. Was that guy putting the mask on because he's someone we know? Is Bully Ray involved in this somehow? I don't know. It's still a mystery. But I'm enjoying the ride so far. This Aces and Eights storyline has still got me hooked. I thought this was a really good show. They put the focus back on the world champion. The Bound for Glory series looks very important. I hated the nonsense with Eric Young and ODB, and the fact that Zema Ion and Kenny King are still MIA, but otherwise, a really strong effort this week. Still wondering about this Aces and Eights thing, though. No answers yet, just more questions. Who are they? What do they want? Why can the camera crew find them but the wrestlers can't? And most of all, who the hell is the evil mastermind behind all this? Anyone but Jarrett. Anyone but Jarrett. Anyone but Jarrett. I don't know. As time goes on, the finger of blame points to more and more people. It looks like it might be one person, then it looks like it might be another. Honestly, I don't know if we'll ever know who's really behind.
Stop! Stop the show! Stop everything! I can't allow this pathetic masquerade to continue. Not now that I've learned the horrible truth. I've stayed silent for too long. I held my tongue at first because I didn't believe it myself, but it cannot be denied any longer. The leader of the Aces and Eights is that low-life son of a bitch right there!